Hi everyone, my name is Jen and I'm the Urban Bird Educator with Pelee Island Bird Observatory. And the purpose of this brief tutorial today is to hopefully get everyone using eBird because eBird is really easy to use. It's a great way to keep track of your birding records and to explore sightings around your community and the world. It's also a great way to contribute to citizen science and conservation efforts. So we're primarily going to enter a checklist online. I'm going to show you how to enter your birding checklist using the eBird website. And if you haven't already done so, you have to sign up for eBird. And it's really simple. You just need to provide your email address and create a password. But if you've ever used Merlin Bird ID before, or some of the Cornell Lab courses and Bird Academy, it would be that same password. So we're going to prepare to do a checklist right now, and the Great Backyard Bird Count is kind of what inspires us to get everyone recording their sightings on eBird so we can get all of that data for this weekend's count. And in order to do that, we can go to ebird.org. There we go, so we can see some stats, some beautiful photos, some birding news, but we can also go to ebird.ca. So it's the same data, it's just a slightly more Canadianized experience. So we'll go with that one. And everything you're going to need is pretty much across the top home toolbar there. We're going to submit a checklist primarily. You can also explore the data that's been collected from all these observations. You can check out My eBird for your stats and your locations and all of your information. And the Science tab is really wonderful too to see what we can do with all of this data. And don't forget to use the help. Normally it's kind of a troubleshooting link that we don't use too often on websites, but on the eBird website, it's really got everything you need to get started and to use the website. So there's getting started with eBird. Let me see, entering your sightings on the website, which we're going to do in just a moment. And I'm also going to show you how to enter your sightings using the mobile app. That's really helpful too and really easy. You can do it right in the field. Everything you want to know and the answer to frequently asked questions. So let's go back to the home page for now and submit our first checklist. Now, I've got a lot of preloaded locations, pretty much anywhere I have birded before, but to get started, you could enter your location and find it on a map. So we'll start by looking at the Essex region, Essex, Ontario, Canada. I'll load up a map. Here we go, we'll zoom in so we can see some more detail of these records. Zoom in a little more. So the red points are birding hotspots, a lot more diversity of species there. And some of the little blue ones are personal locations, like my home would be a blue one. I don't get a great diversity of birds at my home in the city. Now we can check out these locations and we can select our location from here. If we birded at one of these locations, we would just select this location to continue. But I've got a lot of locations loaded up. Oh, we can also enter it into the address bar. So I'm going to select it from my locations because I'm birding at home for the backyard bird count. First thing you have to do is enter the date. So this was a count that I did on February 11th. And your observation type. Traveling, if you were hiking or walking through a conservation area, you'd have to record all of this data, including the distance that you traveled and the length of time. Stationary, which is what I'm going to use today. And then there's historical, if I had an old checklist or an old sighting that I wanted to add. Incidental would be if birding wasn't my primary purpose, but maybe I saw an owl or I saw an eagle while I was doing something else and I just wanted to record that one record. So my start time, I started at 10 a.m. that day. And I watched for about 20 minutes. My party size was 1, just myself. If I had any comments, I'd add them here. I don't use it much. Sometimes I put the weather, anything you think might be helpful or relevant. And I can record the number of birds that I saw next to the species, but it's a long list, so it's often easier to use the jump to feature. So we're going to just add just the few ones that were at my feeders during this sighting. House finch, a couple of those. Also saw Carolina wren. I have a couple that always visit my feeder. European starling. Not a great diversity of birds, but this is what was there that day. Downy woodpecker. And I can add some details for the record. Oh, I've got to record that I saw an individual first. And I can add details. For example, I'm going to add age and sex because I saw that it was an adult male. Next is dark-eyed junco. 4 of those. House sparrow. 6 of those. And some American goldfinches. 4 of those. All right, so it looks like that's all the birds that I saw. Are you completing a complete checklist of the birds you were able to identify? Yes, I am. And submit. Okay, so that's my checklist submitted. I can make any changes here, have a look at it, see if everything looks all right. And it does. If I had any media, I could add that here as well. If I'd recorded a sound or if I had taken a photo of the bird, I could add that at this time. Looks good? Okay. So let's go back to that home page and just briefly check out some of the other features before we go on. Explore. We can explore a region, and we can explore that Essex region as well. It's really a fun way to kind of see what everyone else has been seeing. We can see all these recent records, all of the species here, the individuals observed, the date, the observer name, the location, and some beautiful photos, lots of records. We can also explore the map, just kind of like we did when choosing a location, but this time we're really seeing what everyone's been observing. So here are some locations. We'll zoom in. Not a ton of records right now, but it's not really the hottest time of year for birding. As the records get kind of increasingly red, they show more diversity of species. Let's look at the orange one. It's the best one we have right now. Ojibwe Prairie Complex, understandably. Quite a few records here. A lot of people have been seeing a great number of birds, and that's just kind of fun to see what people have been seeing before you head out. You can also explore species if you're looking for snowy owl or if you're just looking for information on a bird species. Look at my eBird, some of your records. I haven't been adding that many checklists lately. I've got to really get up to date, but it's got all of the ones that I've recorded in the past, my locations that I try to keep current, add a new one when I bird at a new area, alerts. I haven't set up any of these, but a rare bird alert or a needs alert, if you're looking for a lifer, you can set up an alert there for eBird to notify you if there's anything that you should check out. And the science tab is pretty wonderful too. It really kind of shows us what we can do with all of this information. Whoops, no luck there. That's better. Okay. So it's a really powerful research tool for conservation and education. Really enables us to track movement and population trends and migration patterns. And so it's really wonderful, all of this data that is collected on the eBird website. Another option to add your sightings is using the mobile app. That way you can skip the checklist altogether. You can download the free eBird app and add your sightings to eBird directly. You do need an internet connection to use the app, but if you're in a remote area, you might not always have access to data or Wi-Fi connections. That's okay, just add the birds that you see as you see them, and then when you get reconnected again, you can just add your location and submit. So I did submit a checklist, and I'll show that to you now so you can see just how easy it is to use the mobile app. I'm going to create a checklist of the birds that I see at my bird feeder right now, and I'll show you how easy that is to do using the mobile app. It's already preloaded with the correct date and time, and it records my track. I'm not going to be traveling right now. I'm stationary observing birds at home, but if I were, it would record the distance that I traveled and the location. So let's start the checklist. It's going to come preloaded with some of the birds that I might see in my area. The first thing you have to do is preload a bird pack. So I preloaded the Essex County, Canada pack. We'll select my location. It knows where I am because I have my location on, but even if I didn't, I could select it from a map. I'm going to select home. Use this location. And now I just have to add my birds.
I can add the number of birds first. For American goldfinch, 1 downy woodpecker, 1 European starling, and let's see, 3 dark-eyed juncos. Those are all the birds that I see right now. I'm going to check and stop birding and stop track. Everything looks okay. Incidental. Now this isn't just some birds that I happen to see. I'm actually doing a stationary bird count. So I'm going to check stationary. If I was traveling, I'd check traveling. Now there's only one observer, just myself, and I only observed for a minute just for demonstration purposes, but normally I would observe longer than that. Am I submitting a complete checklist of the birds that I'm able to identify? Yes, I am, and submit. And it's just as easy as that.
So just a reminder that the Great Backyard Bird Count starts today. You can count all weekend, count anywhere you want for as long as you want for a minimum of 15 minutes. And try to please enter those count numbers in eBird because that's really the way that it can all be shared. And happy counting, everyone. Bye.